Chapter 1. Zai Wen, did you come into conflict with Jiang Ran? Were you the one who pushed her? Did you do this on purpose because you were fighting for resources? Outside the door, the reporters were questioning her with microphones in their hands. Even through the door, Zai Wen could hear them clearly. The man standing in front of her was a handsome man in his 30s, her manager, Brother Chen. Brother Chen's face darkened. Why did you do such a stupid thing? She only had to beckon you with her finger and you fell for it, and now you've been caught on camera hitting Jiang Ran. Listen to me, go admit your mistake. No matter what the reporters ask, you'll just have to swallow your ego and admit your mistake. We'll take care of the follow-up. Seeing that Zai Wen was still in a daze, Brother Chen lost his temper. All right, you're still throwing a tantrum at a time like this. Then deal with all this yourself. I won't bother with you anymore. He promptly turned around and left. As soon as he left the building, Brother Chen was immediately surrounded by reporters, so he increased his pace and left the scene, unhappy. At this moment, Zai Wen finally came back to her senses. She had stayed up for 2 nights to read a small book, and her vision had turned black. When she opened her eyes again, the scene in front of her had changed. She wasn't in her messy little room, but rather in a place with a spacious dressing table, branded cosmetics laid out on it. A mechanical voice spoke to her in her mind. Congratulations on having transmigrated. Trust me, follow my instructions, and you will definitely survive. Before Zai Wen could reply, the system introduced the plot to her. Your name is Bai Yueguang, and you're the childhood sweetheart of the book's male protagonist. Because of a family marriage, you married the villain. The male protagonist was sad and met a girl who looked like you, our female protagonist. As a result, the male and female leads fell in love. The male lead thought that he was using the female lead as a substitute, but in fact, he had already fallen in love with the female lead. At this time, you found out the truth. Feeling like the male protagonist had betrayed you, you started down the path of darkness. After causing trouble for the female lead time and time again, the relationship between the male and female leads deepened. You found out that you were still deeply in love with the male lead, so for the sake of the male lead's career, you stole the villain company's confidential documents and gave them to him. In the end, the male and female leads got into a loving relationship, but you died a miserable death. When she heard this, Zai Wen trembled. What, was this some kind of unattainable love? This was clearly a vicious female supporting role. She was just an NPC to push the plot forward, a green leaf to set off the beauty of the female lead, and a tool to help the male lead destroy the villain. According to the plot that the system had explained, Zai Wen did some mental calculations and realized that it was not too late yet. She hadn't betrayed the villain yet, and she hadn't caused trouble for the female lead. There was still time. However, the system continued. What I told you just now was the original plot of the book. The change now is that the female protagonist got the cheat system, and the male protagonist also knows about the whole plot in advance. The villain is also a reincarnated character. The changes are too big, and the book might collapse at any time, so your task is to appear in a fixed plot so that the plot of the book can progress smoothly. After saying that, the system let out a long sigh of relief. It had explained everything clearly enough, so Zai Wen should be able to understand it, right? Zai Wen's expression was very dark at this moment. Of course she understood what the system was saying, so she wanted to raise her knife and hack it to bits. She asked quietly, so is it too late for me to back out now? The system refused. No, you're already dead in your world. If you accept the mission, you can still live. If you give up the mission, you'll die immediately. Zai Wen was speechless. What a stupid system. It had phrased everything so nicely, saying that it would help her change her fate. The villain had been reborn, so of course he knew that she was the one who caused the company to be hit hard. The male lead knew the entire plot of the book, so of course he knew that her heart would turn bad. Her only advantage, the beautiful image in the male lead's heart, was now useless. This wasn't giving her a new life, it was clearly forcing her to die. Zai Wen took a deep breath. She really wanted to give up, but she didn't have the ability to do so. As someone who would stop at nothing for survival, she wanted to live, even if it was just for one more day. I accept the mission. Overjoyed at her answer, the system brought up a suggestion. Actually, this task is easy to carry out. As long as you try your best to please the female lead, get the male lead's love, and not betray the villain, everything can still develop in a good direction. Zai Wen smiled coldly. Develop. In its dreams, maybe. Forced to accept this setting, Zai Wen sat in front of the makeup mirror and sized up the appearance of her new body. She had a small mouth with lips resembling a cherry, curved, slender eyes, and beautiful dimples when she smiled. She was a bright and beautiful woman. This was actually the exact same as her original appearance. Zai Wen felt that there was something strange about this, but it was obvious that she could not get anything out of the system, so she made a mental note of it. The most important thing now was to get rid of the paparazzi at the entrance. She thought about the current development of the plot. The female lead's good friend, Jiang Ran, was also a star in the entertainment industry, and they were walking the same path. It was a pity that Jiang Ran didn't have as good a skill foundation as she did. Every time the two of them appeared at the same place, she would always be the one to beat Jiang Ran. Today, they had been invited to the same event, but Jiang Ran had deliberately provoked her. When she touched Jiang Ran had pretended that she had pushed her and recorded it. The reporters outside the door were all hired by Jiang Ran, and they would only speak for her. Chapter end.